anytime, anywhere, and with any endpoint approach. In addition, we collaborate with a wide range of carriers and solution and technology partners to provide video as a service, so that we can have a solution that fits customers' business needs at any budget. So a little bit about Huawei's video conferencing and telepresence history. Huawei has a long history here that began back in the early 1900s, around 1995, with the first frame class MCU and the first video endpoint. As you can see, we progressed along the path here in 2007 and 2008 with the first HD endpoint, right? So we came to market with the first HD endpoint. In 2009, we ramped that up with the first 1080p 6050 end-to-end solution. And then in 2010, we caught the telepresence wave with our first telepresence conferencing system. And now here in 2008, 2013, excuse me, 2012, 2013, we've evolved that into the panoramic telepresence system. So we've really sort of grown this, and it's become a very, very valuable piece of our video conferencing setup. So as you can see here on this next slide, Huawei has a very, very complete offering within the video conferencing and telepresence product set. Everything from MCUs, systems, management systems, recording, the various peripherals that you see listed there, desktop solutions, the video endpoints, specifically the TE30 that you see there. We're going to be covering that in more detail today, on up to what I refer to as the Cadillac of telepresence, and that's the panoramic telepresence setups. So we do have a wide variety of video conferencing and telepresence solutions for our customers out there today. One thing to think about when you look at this slide, you think about telepresence and you think about these large telepresence rooms with big screens, the TP3206, which is kind of the Cadillac of this, and those are sort of on the higher end. And so when you're a business that's, say, in the SMB or mid-market space, you look at that and you go, well, that's not for me. Well, so to a certain extent, yes, it's not, and that's why Huawei has developed the TE30. I like to talk about the TE30 as, for lack of a better term, affordable telepresence, right? For the SMB and the mid-market. Telepresence is not something that's just for those large corporations with those beautiful panoramic telepresence setups. The TE30 now brings that home for the SMB and the mid-market space. So now it's time for a quick polling question. I'm going to toss it over to Mitchell, and Mitchell's going to queue up our first polling question.
Great. Well, thanks, Stuart. Let me launch this poll. And the first polling question really deals with your vertical market, and we're just trying to get an idea for what market you're playing in. As you answer this question, we'll collect the data and then we'll share the results with everyone. So we'll give it a few more minutes here. I can see people are still voting. Okay, great. It looks like most of the answers are in. So want to share the results here so everyone can see. Education was our big vertical market, so most of you are in the education space. We have some in manufacturing and healthcare, and then number two, a close second to education, was other. It's always interesting to see how these details come across. So after our first poll here, I'm going to turn it back over to Stuart.
Very good. Thank you, Mitchell.
No problem.
So, you know, when people look at implementing, you know, video conferencing, you know, there are a number of factors that you know that come into their decision making as it pertains to implementing video conferencing, and people you know, have some preconceived notions about its complexity and its cost. If you look here at a Frost and Sullivan survey that was done in 2011, you know, one of the top influencing elements here for folks that might want to delay an application of video conferencing is quality and app performance, followed closely by obviously other tech priorities, whether or not it's cost effective, the difficulty to implement and or integrate, and then obviously the possibilities of them being dissatisfied with you know, with other vendors. So we're gonna address you know, some of these in the presentation today, but specifically here as it pertains, you know, to the TE30, as we developed the TE30, you know, we kept these things specifically in mind so that we would be addressing these with a solution that you know, that was cost effective and available in the you know, SMB and mid-market space. So, you know, here are, you know, what we consider the top system issues, or the top issues that anyone, you know, might pop into their head when they're considering a video conferencing system. One is a complex installation. You know, lots of cabling, lots of configuration, and as you can see here on the screen, we've got, you know, a very interesting you know, video conferencing setup with, you know, lots of boxes, lots of screens, you know, cabling everywhere. You know, difficult to use. A lot of folks have a preconceived notion about video conferencing, that it's, you know, that it's difficult to use. 2 or 3 here, hard to maintain. You know, lots of connections, lots of you know, points of failure, difficulty to maintain. Poor network adaptability. Anytime we're talking about, you know, video conferencing, one of the first things that pops into somebody's head is, well, you know, what if I have bandwidth issues, or what if I have packet loss? So, you know, something else that we address with the TE30. And then, you know, high bandwidth requirements. I mean, obviously, when you're shipping video over the line, you know, you have some high bandwidth requirements, and we've addressed that as well with the TE30. So, you know, when you look at this next slide here, it kind of talks about, you know, where we've been and where we're going, and the top half is with computers, right? Because it kind of, you know, paints a picture here. Well, 70 years ago we had, you know, big rooms, and you know, just yesterday we had desktops, and today we have, you know, tablets. You know, video conferencing. You know, kind of a funny video picture there of you know, some gentlemen in a room showing a video screen up, and then, you know, yesterday it was this, you know, complex pile of wires and screens and cameras and the such. And so, you know, where is it today? Well, you know, today, as it pertains to Huawei, it's the TE30, right? You know, it's when we built this thing, we focused on simplicity, we focused on intelligence, and we focused on the concept of all-in-one, so that you didn't have to have, you know, a ton of supporting equipment to be able to offer video conferencing. So on this slide here, I kind of illustrate at the next level, you we're talking about simplicity, intelligence, and all-in-one, right? So the appearance, a compact, a sleek design, a simple, visually appealing piece of equipment, right? The installation, it's highly integrated. You have Wi-Fi access, which is very important. And then the voice dialing capability, the actual usage of the system, right? I mean, voice dialing is probably the most efficient way to utilize this within to be able to utilize voice within this system. Some systems can be a little bit more complex when it comes to the dialing piece of it. And then the network, right? Intelligent network adaptability, and then bandwidth, right? And when we talk about total cost of ownership, bandwidth is one of the #1 things that always surface. So here we have a quick picture of the unit with our model there, and then what I'm pointing out here is a few of the basic pieces of it, right? The microphone, right, which has a pickup of up to 6 meters, which is fantastic. The camera itself, which is a 12 by optical zoom, so it helps support the high definition feeds that people are looking at, and then obviously the 1080p HD codec right in there, and then the LED status display. So as you can see here, in one very compact unit, we're combining all of the features and the functions and the capabilities that someone might need. And what you see here down at the bottom is a basic overview of the cabling that's required for the TE30. So then a little bit on voice dialing for ease of use. With our system, you can initiate a voice conference within 10 seconds. It's very easy. It's all voice driven. A number of the other systems out there in the market today, actually initiating the voice call, requires sometimes assistance by a third-party vendor. Sometimes it requires opening up a menu, like you see here in the screen. Basically, what we're trying to communicate here is that with the Huawei system, you can be online voice dialing in 10 seconds. Whereas with some of the other solutions out there, it could take up to 3 minutes, right, to actually initiate the call. And hey, time is money, right? So the faster that we can make this happen for you, the better. Intelligent network adaptation, right? When you're in the middle of a voice conference or a video, when you're in the middle of a video conference, and let's say your network suffers some packet loss, right? Your network feed can be degraded a little bit, right? So here are a couple of examples here on this screen, right? What Huawei has done to help compensate for this, right? Because this can happen in the middle of a presentation, right? Is that we have what's called our super error concealment technology, H264, right? What this does is this ensures the quality of your video all the way up to a 20% packet loss, which is significant. And based on the network you're on, or on the web, right? This can happen at any time. So being able to ensure the quality of your video up to a 20% packet loss is very important. And then the all-in-one concept here that I talked about earlier on. With the TE30, you've got the integrated codec, the camera, and the mic, right? All in one unit. Inside this unit, you also have, the wireless network. You have a UDISC configuration for auto configuration. And when you package all of this together, what you've really got is a video conferencing solution that can be enabled and up in 5 minutes. It's a very simple installation, as opposed to, right, some of the other solutions that might be out there on the market today that you might even have installed today, where you've got, what I call the spaghetti web of cabling, right? 4 or 5 different units piled up on top of a table or in a cart, right? That sometimes require, IT assistance for both installation and configuration, as well as maybe even, operation in a meeting. So, we're trying to make this as simple and as effortless as we possibly can. And then obviously the bandwidth issues. I mean, everybody out there wants to make sure that if they're going to do video conferencing, that they're getting 1080p, right? I mean, if we're going to do video conferencing, let's have the best possible video delivery that we can, right? What that then puts a tax on is the bandwidth, right? Because when you're delivering 1080p, you know that can eat up bandwidth. Well, with Huawei's product, we have a patented video motion enhancement technology that helps us save on the bandwidth by up to 50%. So we're delivering 1080p video at 512, where some of the other solutions out there on the market today, when it comes to delivering 1080p video, they require between 1 and say maybe up to as high as 1.5 megabits of bandwidth to support that. And that can be an issue. All right, Mitchell, it's time for polling question number 2. Please.
Hey, great. Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, the bandwidth issues have always been a real problem for especially smaller enterprises as they move into video conferencing, and we've really solved that problem with the TE30 in addition to making it very simple to install and use. So let me go ahead and launch this next polling question here. And what we're doing here is asking what is your biggest obstacle in implementing video conferencing in your company. So please go ahead and make your vote there. And once again, after everyone has completed their voting, we'll share that with the rest of the audience. Still getting a few votes there, so we'll keep it open for a few more minutes here, a few more seconds anyway. Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and close this and then share it with the audience here. And interestingly enough, the #1 issue appears to be high bandwidth requirements. And that's not really surprising, and that's why Huawei focuses on that high bandwidth requirement. I think also complex installation and network adaptability are 2 of the areas that we really drill into as well. So as you've seen so far, the TE30 is very easy to install. It's very easy to use. It works with any network, and it doesn't require a lot of bandwidth. So as a result, I think we've pretty much covered the top issues there. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Stuart, and he'll continue along on the presentation.
Mitchell, thank you. Yeah, it's always interesting when we do these polling questions, and high bandwidth, obviously a concern. So let's kind of bring this home just a little bit in terms of total cost of ownership, right? Because again, coming back to one of the things that I mentioned early on in the presentation, a lot of folks have I don't want to call it a misconception, but they have a preconceived notion of just how expensive, right? That offering video conferencing or telepresence might be. So let's just touch on a few of the basics here. So endpoint installation, right? First and foremost, you've got to get that endpoint up and running. The Huawei TE30, it's a one-person job. It's it's 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes might be exaggeration, but 5 to 10 minutes, and this system is up and ready to go. Whereas with some of the other solutions in the market, it could take a techie perhaps up to an hour. With all of the extra cabling and finagling that might have to happen to get it up. So you've got a reduction there of and we estimate 92%. Conference initiation. We spoke about getting the voice dialing initiated at the front end of a conference.
Hey, Stuart.
With the Huawei solution.
Yes, your slides stopped showing up on the webinar here.
Okay.
You must have hit pause my screen or something.
1 second. Let me make a quick adjustment here. Have they returned?
Not yet.
I'm just checking here. We do have the sharing open.
There you go. You're back on.
All right. We love technology. It's a wonderful thing. All right. So once again, the reduction of total cost of ownership. Endpoint installation takes up to 5 minutes with the TE30. 1 hour with some other solutions. That's a 92% savings. Conference initiation, voice dialing initiation is about a 10-second operation with the TE30, as opposed to 3+ minutes with other solutions. Bandwidth, which we have drilled home a couple of different times here, 1080p available at 512, which is pretty darn low, as opposed to say 1 megabyte with some of the others. And then the all-in-one design, right? So fewer cables and fewer connection faults. So with that, what I'd like to do is, on a lot of our webinars, we like to invite our partners to come participate. And today, we're going to hear a little bit from Mario Garendo from Ecotech Solutions, who is a valued partner here at Huawei. And the reason I've asked Mario to join us on this webinar today is because he has significant experience with the TE30 and can talk to some of the implementations that he's done, some of the benefits, and some of the things that he's heard from the customers that he has that are currently using the TE30. Mario, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Thanks, Stuart. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So my name is Mario Garendo. I'm the president of Ecotech Solutions Group, and we are based out of Indianapolis with a solution center in Chicago area. We are a provider of hosted unified communication and cloud applications and solutions. So voice, video, data, and other cloud applications and beyond is we specialize in. And like Stuart mentioned earlier, we do have extensive experience working with the TE30. And we have the TE30 deployed with our proprietary cloud bridge. So we have developed a cloud bridge that allows the TE30 to be able to host cloud-based telepresence and communicate with any endpoint, whether it's Microsoft Link, Google, Skype, you name it, tablets, smartphones. With our cloud bridge, we can have a telepresence system like the TE30 communicate with all those endpoints at up to 1080p resolution on the cloud. And why did we choose to partner with Huawei? First of all, it's the innovation. So we are a solution provider, and being innovative is what keeps us in business. And Huawei has probably one of the largest R&D groups that we know of in the industry. They have over 70,000 R&D engineers working in their team. They invest heavily in innovation. The devices are priced right, in our opinion. They're financially solid, and they're very, very responsive to our feedback or queries. The TE30, compared to any other endpoint of the size, is very unique. First of all, it's the only one that we know of on the market that is a true all-in-one. And some of the competitors out there are calling their devices all-in-one, but there's really multiple moving parts. So that you really have a camera, a separate codec unit, and 10,000 cables. The TE30 has everything built in: the microphone, the codec unit, the camera. And the beauty of this is that it has one cable that provides video, voice, audio, and power to the unit with a single cable. So it can easily be mounted on the top of the TV with a bracket and just have one cable coming from the back of it, which really, really simplifies cable management. And looking at the poll questions, some of the things that we see from the audience is that there is concern about bandwidth issues and complexity on the deployment. Stuart mentioned earlier that it was an easy deployment, and he's not really exaggerating. I think our fastest deployment of the TE30 so far has been 25 minutes. Basically, we spend more time taking it out of the box than putting it on the network. But it auto-configures itself, grabs the IP address from the DHCP server, and bam, you're in business. You can do voice dialing. Yeah, you can use Wi-Fi if you choose to do so, and it's really a device that I would call it self-deployed itself. So very, very easy to use. We've done a few deployments. One of our customers is a manufacturing company. They have locations worldwide. So we have TE30s at the corporate office, which is based out of Indianapolis. And they communicate with the distributors and all branch offices everywhere. So they have distributors in South Africa, in Asia. They have branch offices in Europe and throughout the United States. They're able to host Monday meetings with all the locations using the TE30 every Monday morning with our CloudBridge solution. So some of the users on the other end have iPads, some dialing from smartphones, desktop clients as well, using either the built-in camera on their PCs or an external camera, and are able to go as high as 1080p on a resolution as long as their camera supports that resolution. So on our next slide, we'll show you an example of some of the devices. Like if we look up, of course we have the TE30, so we have our CloudBridge in the middle. any of those Huawei endpoints. So the VP9050 is another one Huawei endpoint. It's also an all-in-one. It includes a screen. It's more for an executive office and room telepresence with larger screen. All those devices can communicate to each other with the cloud bridge using our cloud solution. Again, low bandwidth, very low bandwidth utilization thanks to the motion technology that Huawei has built into their devices, especially on the TE30. We also have the ability to integrate with Microsoft Link. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with it, but it's an instant messaging application from Microsoft that's becoming heavily used in the business market. So we can actually integrate Microsoft Link video call with a room system like the TE30 to our cloud bridge. We have customers in South Africa, in Canada, in Europe that host meetings daily with clients and partners in different continents using the cloud bridge solution. Stuart, I think I'm done on my side, and we can maybe take some questions if anybody has any.
Yep. Mario, thank you very much. We've got a few more slides here, so it's always nice to to be able to include one of our VAR partners on here so that they can provide, like Mario did, the the real-time experience with the TE30, which is great. Okay, so as Mario talked, there are a lot of sort of flexible ways that you can deploy the TE30, and what you see here are sort of a few of the basics, right? From a small room, right, where it's sitting up on top of a larger screen, to sort of the medium-sized conference room that you might find in an SMB with anywhere between 15 to 30 square meters. On up to the larger sort of medium-sized conference room with up to probably 40 square meters in size. So the TE30 sort of has that range to be able to work within that real small environment on up to a 40 square meter room, which is pretty good size. So it fits very well in multiple deployments, say in the SMB up through the mid-market space. So, Mitchell, it's time for polling question number 3. Please.
I've been waiting for this, so I'm ready to go. So the question at hand here is, what is the most important feature you're looking for in a video conferencing system? Go ahead and make your selection, and again, at the end, we'll share this with everyone. I always love these polling questions because I always learn a little bit about how our products are being used and what some of the challenges are in the user community. So I always look forward to these. The other thing that is rather vindicating in many of these is that the marketing guys actually do know what they're talking about when they build these products, because so often the user requirements match perfectly to the product features that we've got. So that's always nice as well. Okay. Looks like everybody's voted there, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. So what's the most important feature you're looking for in a video conferencing system? It seems that the number one thing is ease of implementation. Everybody wants to be able to hook that thing up, not have a lot of problems, and hopefully that goes hand in hand with the having users use it without needing a lot of assistance. Behind that, of course, is the video delivery itself. followed by lower bandwidth. And that's a little bit of a surprise to me. I would have thought the bandwidth would have been a little bit higher. And then Wi-Fi access coming up number 4 there, and then voice dialing is not something anybody's interested in. So very good. It's always good to see these things. Stuart, I'll let you take over and finish up the presentation.
So I just got a couple of slides here on some of the nitty-gritty, because we're talking about ease of implementation here. So this interface connection diagram, and I'm hoping everybody can see this, Mitchell.
You need to start sharing again, just like you did last time. Something you clicked out somehow.
Okay, 1 second. Not sure why it does that. Okay, we'll get right back to this here. Let me know when the screen comes back up, Mitchell. So as we saw the polling question answers come in, ease of implementation, very, very, very important. And so what I'm going to show you here, as soon as this slide comes up, is just a quick interconnection diagram.
There it is.
Mitchell,
you're up.
Okay, very good. We love technology. So here's the quick interface connection diagram. As you can see, the TE30 here in the middle. You've got VGA connections for laptops, as well as any overhead projection equipment, and then that one large cable right there in the middle that that goes out to the screen and to the other various pieces. As Mario mentioned, it's a single cable interface, which is fantastic. So here's a quick shot of the back end of the unit here. You've got your USB connection there on the left, your basic line in, line out for various pieces, and then that one large cable in and out for the 1x4 for the mixed interface, and then your VGA in, your VGA out. Very simple. I mean, heavens, I've seen home theater panels that are more complicated than this, and they do less. So again, the TE30 very simple to set up and use. A couple of comments from some analysts today. From a senior analyst at Wayne House, speaking to the opportunity that Huawei has with the TE30 being able to deliver a fantastic conference experience at, again, ultra-low network bandwidth. Very, very important. Another Wayne House senior analyst talks about bringing back the 1997 era, set-top box configuration into the 21st century, right? It's smaller now. It's sleeker. It has a rich feature set. And channel partners as well as distributors can leverage this in a very easy do-it-yourself installation. So a lot of very good analyst feedback out there today on the TE30. So in summary, right, what we've communicated here today, that Huawei is bringing their years of incredible experience to the video conferencing market. Our robust technology background supporting this. We're dedicated, right? As you saw with the years of growth in this market, you can see we're dedicated to delivering a better experience for our customers and anybody doing professional video solutions. And then last but not least, in addition to the TE30, Huawei provides a full portfolio of HD video conferencing products to lead in this space with our experience, our intelligent adaptability, our networking capabilities, and our high reliability within the industry. So with that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn it over to Mitchell, as I'm sure we've got some questions that have come in on the line. Mitchell?
Yes, absolutely. We have several questions kind of queued up. I've been answering some of the real softballs in real time, but the a little bit more complicated ones here I have for us to answer live. So first one that came in is what kind of due diligence do you recommend in order for a company to launch a telepresence technology? I think Mario, this is a great question for you.
Okay. So if we're gonna set up the context and say, looking at the Huawei solution and maybe with our cloud bridge, not much. Really the due diligence is going to be just three key areas. One of them would be the selection of the telepresence system, making sure that it's choosing a system that is easy to use and can basically self-deploy like the TE30. The second one is choosing whether or not you want your MCU in the cloud or on-premise. If you want ease of deployment, you will be looking at an MCU in a cloud bridge solution type. And the third one is your internet connection. Of course, having a reliable internet connection is critical for a telepresence system. Not so much, if we're looking at the TE30, it's not, the reliability of the line is not so much from a bandwidth standpoint, but from an up-down standpoint, because the bandwidth requirements on a TE30 is very, very low. Most of the deployment we do not require a configuration of quality of service on the local area network. The existing LAN configuration is typically fine. We just deploy, but the internet connection will be looking at the up-down link type thing, making sure that it's a line that's going to be up so that you don't interrupt your telepresence situation. But these are the only three things that we see. So just to quickly summarize, if there's any due diligence, the first one would be the selection of the system. The second one is the MCU. And the third one is the reliability of the internet connection from an up-down standpoint, not so much from a bandwidth standpoint.
Great. Well, thanks, Mario. I'm sure that that took care of that question. The next question came in from the audience here was to talk a little bit more about the VME and how is it that we're able to do HD video 1080p with only 512K of bandwidth. So the question is, are we using extensive use of region of interest, or are we doing other things to reduce the amount of actual video being moved? So I don't know, Mario, is that something you want to answer, or do you want to have Stuart take it?
Stuart, you want to take that one? It's more speaking to the proprietary technology for Huawei.
Yeah. So I mean, absolutely. Again, bandwidth, the number one issue, and there are a couple of proprietary technologies that that Huawei is deploying here. The first we talked about it. It's the video motion enhancement and the H.264 high profile video encoding technologies. These allow us to deliver that 1080p video at the bandwidth that we talked about, which was 512 for 1080p, and basically 384 for 720p if anybody is is delivering at 720p. So this allows the TE30 to be about 50%, use about 50% less bandwidth resources than compared to the industry average. Additionally, the TE30 uses what we call, again, an H.268, the scalable video coding, right? So this is Huawei's proprietary, super error concealment technologies. And this sort of helps to, double packet loss tolerance capabilities, and it really helps us ensure high voice and high video quality, again, even if we get all the way up to a 20% packet loss rate. I hope that answers the question. Mitchell?
Yes, I think that's a great answer, Stuart, and I'm sure that's exactly what the attendee was looking for. Another question is, does the camera actually rotate and or follow the voice? So, Stuart, do you know how we do that?
Stuart, I can answer that question if you would like.
Yeah, Mario, why don't you take that one?
Yes. So the camera does rotate. There is a 12x zoom built in, and it also does a 180 rotation, and that can be controlled by the remote control through the 3D menu on the display screen. But in terms of the voice, it really depends on the MCU. So the TE30 is a telepresence system, so it has a camera and it has a codec. The codec is basically what converts video signal into data network packets and vice versa. So it has a codec and a camera. It does not have a multi-control unit, an MCU, which is another component. The MCU is what controls the voice following and process. So essentially, if you would want that feature, you would need to have an MCU on-premise, or an MCU either on-premise or in the cloud. Our solution, our cloud video bridge, is basically a cloud-based MCU. So using the TE30 with our cloud bridge, yes, you can have that. So essentially, when you're hosting a meeting, the person talking would be the person showing up on the camera, and the picture would rotate as the presenter changes, the person speaking changes.
Great, thanks, Mario. That sounds like we did the right thing there in the product design. Another question that came in is, what are the primary differences between HD conferencing and standard telepresence solutions? Mario, is that one for you?
Yeah, I can answer that.
Great.
So basically, high-definition conferencing is just an extension of standard video conferencing. So it tends to be either room-based system or executive desktop with a single screen. That's the traditional video conferencing system with enhancement on the picture resolution. But the telepresence is really a system really carefully designed that gives you the immersive experience in a meeting kind of feel. So the telepresence solutions typically use an audio, they use audio and video conferencing component, as well as what I would call arts and science to create a two-way immersive communication experience. So it's essentially what would happen on a telepresence system is that you would feel there's a lot of technology design on the back end that gives you the feel of having the person right in front of you. So just a typical example, on the traditional video conferencing, you get the sound. Let's say you have an HD video conferencing, you have the sound in stereo. So you get the sound in stereo regardless of how the person on the other side is speaking, because that's just what the system defaults to. On the telepresence, when the person is speaking, let's say the person is speaking to the left of the screen, then you get the sound to the left. So you'll see the person moving and the sound comes to the left. Vice versa, they move to the right, then you get the sound to the right. And as you're speaking with the person, depending on what system they have, so let's just say here they're using the TE30, the zoom automatically adjusts to maintain that real presence experience to where you feel like you're having the person in front of you. Some of our customers are using it for interviews, for interviewing candidates. They're doing out their board meeting. We're even talking about for one of our customers to have dinner with one of their distributor in Cape Town in South Africa. So that's really the main difference, the experience that it delivers based on the sophisticated technology designed in the back end.
Oh, great. Thanks for that. That was a good detailed response there. We're approaching the hour here, so I want to be mindful of everybody's time. So if there are any other questions, please utilize the links there on the screen and let us know. We'll be happy to set up a meeting, answer any questions, or anything else that we can do to make your choice of video conferencing easier. So with that, I'm going to conclude the webinar. Thank everybody for their participation. Again, you will be receiving a Starbucks gift card via email shortly, so please look for that. Also, look for additional invitations from us in the future for other webinars that will be of interest to you. So again, thank everybody for their participation. Mario, thank you for helping us with this presentation today, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again in an upcoming webinar.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.